I woke up with scratches on my arm. My wife was still asleep. The toy was sitting by the window, smiling. And ever since she brought that thing home, we haven't known peace. I don't know how to explain this without sounding mad. But I know what I saw. I know what I felt. And I know that ever since my wife brought that thing home, this house hasn't been the same. It started like a joke. She came home one Saturday evening smiling, holding a small white bag like she had just found treasure. I saw it on TikTok, she said, her eyes shining. Everyone's talking about it. It's called Labubu. I thought it was a perfume or lipstick. But she pulled out a doll. Or maybe a thing that was pretending to be one. It looked like a monkey, but with sharp human teeth. Its grin was too wide. Its eyes were too shiny. It was wearing a fluffy gray outfit, like a baby costume with ears. She hugged it and pressed its head like it was the cutest thing in the world. "Isn't it adorable?" she asked. I wanted to say no, but I didn't want to kill the mood. I just nodded and asked, "Where did you get it?" She said some boutique in Suralire. They were almost sold out. Everyone wanted one. That night, we placed the toy on the shelf in our room. By morning, we had our first fight in months. I don't even remember what it was about, maybe toothpaste. But I shouted at her like she had insulted my mother. And when I stormed out of the room, I swear, I heard the toy giggle. Let me pause here, because this was only the beginning. And I know you're probably thinking, it's just a toy. That's what I thought too. Until things started breaking on their own. Until I started forgetting my own name in my dreams. Until my wife started talking to it when she thought I was asleep. The second night, the lights started flickering. It wasn't NEPA this time. We had just put fuel in the gen. The sockets were fine. But the bedroom bulb would dim, then brighten, like someone was breathing through it. I called an electrician. He came and he checked. "Nothing's wrong with your wiring, sir," he said. He left. The bulb blinked again that night. On Tuesday, I came home from work and found my wife talking to the toy. At first, I thought she was just on a call, or maybe recording a video. But no phone and no camera. She was sitting on the bed, the toy in her lap, and she whispered to it like it could hear. "He doesn't get it, does he? He thinks you're just a toy. But you understand me." I stood at the door. "Babes," I called. She jumped. The toy dropped from her lap. She turned quickly, smiling, acting like nothing happened. "Oh, you're back already?" she said. I didn't bring it up, because a small part of me thought, hoped, she was just joking. But that night, she placed Labubu between us in bed, and turned her back to me. The dreams started. In the first one, I was in our compound. Naked. Alone. Covered in ash. I heard someone giggling behind me. Not a child. Not an adult. Something in between. Labubu stood on the roof, grinning with its big cartoon eyes. It jumped. Straight into my chest. I woke up gasping. My chest was red. Like something had scratched me with tiny claws. I started sleeping on the couch. She didn't ask why. She didn't seem to notice me anymore. That Friday, my younger brother came over. He laughed when he saw the toy. "Bro, this thing is ugly, oh," he said. "Why is it looking at me like that?" I shrugged, asked my wife. "She loves it." He picked it up, then dropped it immediately. He looked at his palm like something bit him. I told him to stop playing. But that night he slept over. And by morning, he told me something I still remember clearly. He said, "I heard something moving in your room around 2 a.m. Like little feet. And it was humming." I started avoiding the bedroom completely. My wife didn't even notice. She stopped cooking. She stopped talking unless it was to the toy. She would sit for hours, just brushing its fur with her fingers. Sometimes I'd pass the door and hear her laughing softly, like she was telling Labubu a joke. It wasn't a human laugh. It was hollow, like something learning how to mimic joy. One night, I came home late from work. I was tired and hungry. I just wanted peace. But the moment I entered, I heard them arguing. Not her and someone else, but her and Labubu. At first I thought she was on a call again. But when I peeked through the crack in the door, she was holding the toy, shouting at it. "You're lying. You said he wouldn't stay this long. You promised he'd leave." She paused like she was listening to something. Then suddenly she slapped the toy hard. It hit the wall. And laughed. I swear on everything I know it laughed. She froze. Turned to the door. Saw me. Why are you spying on me? She asked. Who were you talking to? She blinked. Then smiled too wide. And walked past me like I didn't exist. After that night, everything changed. I'd hear things at night scratching inside the walls. I tried throwing the toy away once, took it far down the street and dropped it in a gutter. The next morning, it was back on the shelf. Dry, clean and grinning. I told my wife about it. She looked me dead in the eye and said, maybe it came back because this is its home now. You're the one who doesn't belong. That was the night I snapped. I grabbed the toy and tried to burn it. Lit charcoal in a small pot behind the house. Dropped it in. The fur didn't burn. It melted, slowly, like candle wax, but no smoke. And the plastic? It didn't melt at all. The eyes just stared at me through the flames. Almost sad. When I turned away for a second, the fire hissed, and the toy was gone. Just gone. Pot empty. Ash cold. I don't call what happened next marriage anymore. We were in the same house, but not together. I slept in the parlor most nights. She stopped opening the curtains. She started keeping the lights off even during the day. And she never let that toy out of her sight. One morning I woke up to find the walls scratched. Long, deep lines from the floor to waist level. Like something with small hands had been dragging its claws across the paint. I asked her about it. She said, maybe you sleepwalk. Labubu says you've been restless. That was the first time she referred to the toy like a person. Like it lived. Like it could talk. Then came the mirror. She started covering all the mirrors in the house. At first, it was just our bathroom mirror. She threw a wrapper over it. Then the wardrobe mirror. When I asked why, she whispered, it's watching us from the other side. You don't understand the world it came from. That same week, she stopped eating food I cooked. She'd just stare at it, sniff it, and push it away like it was poisoned. Sometimes, I'd come back from work and she wouldn't even speak to me. She would just be brushing Labubu's fur. Over and over. Humming the same 3-note tune on repeat. Over and over. A neighbor's cat, Mama Mary Ginger Tom, wandered into our compound one afternoon. I heard it meowing. Then it screamed. By the time I ran outside, it was dead under the mango tree. Its body twisted. Eyes wide open. No wounds. Just like its soul left mid-meow. My wife didn't react. She stood at the door, holding Labubu. Smiling. I began to document things. Taking photos of the scratches. Recording her when she talked to the toy. Saving voice notes of her humming in the night. I even sent one to a pastor friend of mine in Port Harcourt. He called me at 2 a.m. His voice was shaking. He said, that sound she's humming. It's from an old ritual used in child summoning. But it's not Christian. Not even native. It's older. I had made up my mind. That toy had to go or I would. Because I was starting to lose myself. I'd wake up in the middle of the night with my hands bleeding. I'd forget basic things. My birthday, my own PIN. I thought I was going mad. So I waited for her to sleep. It was around 1:30 a.m. I crept into the bedroom. She was curled up, back to me, holding Labubu close to her chest like a baby. I gently reached for it. Her hand tightened instantly. Her eyes snapped open and black. Not rolled back. Not shadowed. But black completely. He's mine now, she said. Her voice wasn't hers. It was layered, like two people were speaking at once. She sat up slowly, Labubu still in her arms. I stumbled back. Ran to the door. It slammed shut before I could grab it. Without her touching it. She stood. Still smiling. And then, she started bleeding. From her nose. From her ears. From her fingernails. She didn't flinch. She just kept walking toward me, whispering, he needs a new vessel. You're next. I did the only thing I could think of. I grabbed the can of kerosene we kept under the sink, splashed it on the toy, and struck a match. It burned. This time, it screamed. Not my wife, but the toy. It screamed like a child choking underwater. The room shook. The walls cracked. The mirrors, the ones she hadn't covered, shattered. And my wife? She collapsed. She didn't wake up for 3 days. The doctors couldn't explain it. They ran tests and scans. Nothing. Her pulse was there, but faint, like she was asleep somewhere else. When she finally opened her eyes, she didn't remember anything. Not the fights. Not the toy. Not me sleeping in the parlor. Not the scratches on the wall. She kept asking, "Why am I in the hospital? Why do I feel cold?" I didn't answer. Because how do you explain that a toy almost took your wife's soul? How do you tell your family that you almost died from something people are buying for decoration? How do you tell the police or a pastor that something called Labubu came to your house and turned your life into a nightmare? You don't. You just clean the walls, change the locks, and pray it doesn't come back.